Hey Booktube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. I have been avidly talking to you for probably 10 minutes now and then realized, oh, like I didn't hit record. So anyway, I'm here today to do the shelf respect tag, but before I get into that, I just want to say thank you to all of you who watch ads on my videos. I do appreciate it. It's a way to support me. There is also my Ko-fi page, which is linked down below, and I just really want to thank the people who supported me in the last year. High tech again. So my little whiteboard. So these people all have been just incredibly supportive of me, as well as Books I'm Not Reading. And they have made so many things possible on my channel that would not have been possible otherwise. I would have never bought a little whiteboard for my channel, but because, you know, when people are supporting you, it brings like this certain amount of liberty and freedom, and you're just like, oh, it's okay, like I can go ahead and do that. So anyway, I just really want to thank everyone who has supported my Ko-fi page in the last year. Thank you all just so much. And even if you haven't given me any money, even if you haven't watched any ads, like just your presence here, I really, really appreciate and value. Now, this tag that I'm going to do, I'm not going to tag anyone, but I want to hear your answers down below in the comment section. And also, if you have your own channel and you want to do this tag, by all means consider yourself tagged. You should never ever feel afraid to do a tag if you haven't been tagged. I think that's something like initially when we start our channels, like we're all like a little bit nervous about, right? Like, well, nobody tagged me. But like if you see a tag that you love, you should just go for it. So this tag was created by Richard. His handle is richard.historylit. So I will link to his channel down below. Richard, you've created a fantastic tag. And then I was tagged by Stuart Griffin, and Stuart has tagged me so many times. I'm so grateful. I don't always get to them, and he's totally understanding. So thank you so much, Stuart, and I really enjoyed watching Stuart's version of this tag. So let's get into the questions now that I'm actually finally recording. Question 1, how do you organize your books on the shelves? So I have a library tour video. I will try to link to that down below. Our books, like the fiction books, are definitely organized by author, and then nonfiction kind of goes into however Jason feels is the most appropriate way to organize them. So we have a biography section, we have a poetry section, we have a literary criticism section. There is a lot of books devoted to Sylvia Plath. There's a Shakespeare section. There's a kind of saga section. There is religious and spiritual books, and of course, over here, all the way at the end of the room, are some middle grade YA and picture books that I'm not sure why we still have as many as we do, but anyway, we're getting there little by little. So yeah, so I will try to link to that video so you can see like the full scope of the library. Question 2, have you ever merged your collection with your significant other? Oh yes, Jason and I merged our books together before we actually got married. So what happened was, we did not live together before we got married, but I moved into the apartment that we were going to live in once we were married. And Jason's mother, as a wedding gift, got us some bookcases, which was wonderful, except I was in the apartment by myself one night and pulled a book off a shelf, and it was, the pages were stained. And then I just started like pulling book and book and book off of these shelves, and for whatever reason, I don't know what step in the process got missed, excuse me, but like the stain from the bookcase was coming off onto our books. The furniture store where my mother bought these bookcases really paid the full price, because we went through and made a list of all the books that were damaged, and they gave us a check for that. So so that was wild. Another funny thing about our library is that sometimes we have 2 copies of the same book. Now, this doesn't happen too much. I can think of 3 books off the top of my head that we own 2 copies of. So this is Gary Snyder's Pulitzer Prize winning poetry collection of Turtle Island. Jason found this copy in a used bookstore. It's actually signed by Gary Snyder. I mean, I suppose there's no way to prove for certain that that's his signature, but anyway, I think Jason got this for like 50 cents. And then when I graduated college, Jason bought me a copy of Turtle Island. He wrote something inside of it, and so obviously I don't want to get rid of it. Okay, so I'm going to read you the inscription, which will, it's just because it's just so beautiful. So he wrote, Kells, which is what he called me back then. Remember something for me. No matter the places you visit, the countries, the vistas, none can ever be more beautiful than the landscapes within you, within each of us, for we contain the earth. Love, Jason. Yeah. That's my husband. Anyway, so those books, we're keeping both of those forever. All right, question 3. Do you write your name and or the price paid in your books? No. I think I've expressed many times on this channel, like, I understand people like to annotate books. That's cool. That's awesome. I'm not interested in annotating, and I don't write, like, we don't write in our books at all. I also find it fascinating that someone would write how much they paid for a book in their copy. I'm not sure the purpose of that. Now, I definitely have used books that I haven't like erased the penciled in price of the book. So I suppose the price is still in a few of the books that we own, but certainly not very many, and we would never, Jason or I would never ever do that. So question 4, do you keep all the books you've read, or only the most cherished? So again, it's not just my library, it's our library, and I could definitely sweep off, I'm going to show you later, one of the books that I would get rid of in a heartbeat. And there are a lot of books that are Jason books. Like, I'm not interested in reading them. But I think, like, I don't have any problems if I read a book that's, definitely like a Kelly book, not a Kelly and Jason book. If I read a book and I'm like, yeah, cool, like, I enjoyed that, but I'm never going to read it again or whatever, I don't have any problems getting rid of it. So, I'm much less into, like, holding on to books than Jason is, but I mean, obviously that we own more than 1,000 books, so and there's always something new out there. There's always some new treasure to find. So, okay, question 5: does the style and or quality of your bookcases matter? So our bookcases don't match, but they're pretty close. I mean, I have one bookcase that's to the farthest side of that room that I've had. That's probably the oldest bookcase in here, except for maybe, you can just barely see the edge of this one. Jason's dad actually made that bookcase for him. I'm not sure when, but So that is a very special bookcase in our library. But the one on the other side I got for free from a woman at church. I think she did my hair for my wedding, but she was trying to help me out when I was moving into my unfurnished apartment, and said that she had a bookcase that she wanted to get rid of. So it's white. It's a different shape than all of the other bookcases. I'm pretty sure almost, if not all, the bookcases are made of wood. And we've never had any problems with any of them, aside from the story I told you about, like the people who didn't quite finish the process of sealing up those bookcases. Question 6, do you have any gripes or complaints about bookcase construction? I'm sure some people out there do. But again, like, I'm not really, it hasn't been an issue for us, but we are willing to, Jason, like the latest bookcase we bought that's at the end of this room, Jason definitely looked around, and, we made sure, it's a brand new bookcase. We didn't buy a used bookcase or anything like that. And, so I'm not worried about the quality of our bookcase construction, mainly because I feel like everything's in really good condition. So question 7, do you ever stack books horizontally? And as many bookcases as we have, yes, we do. I can see right now there's some poetry books that are stacked up on the kind of diagonally from me. This way I can see some religious books that are stacked, as well as the Christmas books. So there are still, and just, you can see even behind me, like, books that don't fit on the bookcase at this moment, because Jason hasn't like shifted things around, which is fine. I'm not terribly worried about it. I would like all my trollop books to be on the bookshelf, but that alone could suck up so much space. Question 8. What are your 5 favorite jackets or covers? I mean, I'm not going to say these are my all-time, like, 5 favorite covers. I show so many of the same books on my channel that I really wanted to show you 5 covers that maybe you haven't ever seen on my channel. I feel certain about a couple of them that you haven't seen. So quite a while ago, I don't know whether it was I know it was a gift from Jason. I got Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery in this beautiful Penguin Classic edition that's also a hardcover, which I have never seen. But anyway, I love it. This cherry blossom like coming across in the window, and you can picture Anne up there. I have read this edition, but yeah, this is a really, really special book. I'm sure Penguin Classics did not do, the whole series in hardcover, and I think Jason may have even had to order this. Oh yeah, this is a Canadian edition, which makes sense because Ellen Montgomery was Canadian, so it makes sense that this would be a Penguin Classic in Canada. But so I really, really love the cover of that. This is a book that I got not too long ago. I read it in college, not this edition. But this is Ovid, Metamorphoses, and like I said, I feel like I read this in college, but I remember really liking it, and then I think I held on to it for a while, and eventually it disappeared. But it was not this cover. Like, look at that cover. It's so beautiful, and this is totally one of those cases of I saw this book on somebody else's channel, and I'm like, I have to have that edition, and so I got it. Another book cover and just book that is special to me. This is Ray Robinson's Electricity. It's a very, very striking cover. If you're interested in books about people with disabilities, this is about a young woman with epilepsy. And as someone with epilepsy, yeah, I've not found, if you know any books, any novels that the character has epilepsy, and I would love to hear down below. But I just wanted to share with you this little part of the synopsis. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but it says 30-year-old Lily O'Connor lives with epilepsy, uncontrollable surges of electricity that leave her in a constant state of edginess. She sees the world in terms of angles. You look at every surface, you weigh up every corner, and you think of your head slamming into it. And it's so true. That is such a true thing for people with epilepsy, is like, you kind of like look around, like my office, oh my gosh, you guys, if I had a seizure in my office, it would be so bad. And even our house, the main floor of our house has hardwood floors, which, I mean, if I fell on them, like, oh, that would be really painful. But anyway, so I probably should reread this book, because it's been quite a while. But anyway, I thought the cover is striking, and just to share a little bit more about myself with you with this one. This is actually a Jason book I'm going to show you, but I do think it has a gorgeous cover, and neither Jason nor myself have read this. This is The Ice Road by Jillian Slavo. I don't know much about what this book is about, but Jason had to have it right away. We have the hardcover edition. And you know, every winter he's like, I'm gonna read that. But neither one of us have read it yet. But I do think the cover is just gorgeous. So yeah, it would be a good winter book. Okay. And finally, this is a book Jason got me, and I really haven't explored it very much, but I need to. This is Literary Wonderlands, a journey through the greatest fictional worlds ever created. And again, I think this cover is fantastic. I just want to show you a little bit of the inside. So there's tons of artwork. Here's the little prints. So there's like an author photo and a picture of the book and like annotations, kind of things, whatever. So this is a book I need to spend some time exploring, but I really do like the cover, and I wanted to share that with you. Question 9. What are your 5 most disliked jackets or covers, and why? Okay, again. So are these the most disliked covers in the library? I don't know, but a few of them I wanted to show you. I have shown you a couple of these before. So this is our edition of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I love Jane Eyre. I mean, I love Jane Eyre, but I don't like this cover. This is, of course, a broad view edition, and yeah, I just think it's such a sad representation of a really fantastic book. Oh well, maybe one day we'll have 2 Jane Eyres. Jason can have that Jane Eyre, and I'll get another edition. This is another one. Jason bought this book. He hasn't read it. I certainly haven't read it. And it's not so much, it's a horrible cover, but just the whole thing is just so kind of like crazy. This is The Dinosaur Lords by Victor Milan. And I have not read this book, but I just think it's hilarious that we own this in our library. So it's very, very funny to me. I have not read this book, so this cover isn't but this is, I want to read this book. I'm surprised it didn't make it onto my high priority TBR, because I have owned this for quite a while. But this is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. But the thing I want to say is I don't really like it when publishers like turn the cover into a cartoon. Now, it might be appropriate for Cold Comfort Farm. I haven't read it, but yeah, I'm not crazy about that kind of trend in general. I've seen that with a lot of classics, that they have like this kind of comic book style cover. I'm not really into that. This book I have shown on my channel before. This is not about the cover. I am just angry that this book is still in our library. This is Winter's Tale by Mark Halperin. And again, this is one of those books that every winter Jason would be like, oh, I really need to read that. So before the movie came out, I decided to read it. And I hate this book. I think Gina from Gina's 10-Year Books actually mentioned this in like a winter cozy read video or something like that, and I was horrified. This is not a cozy book. There are passages that I think are really interesting and intriguing, but I did not enjoy this book at all. And I know Jason is not going to like it either. That is one of the things about knowing someone for almost 25 years. I know what Jason likes and what he doesn't like, and he's not going to like this. But nonetheless, it remains on our bookcases, and it just makes me, this is the only book in our library that I'm angry that we own. So that's why it makes it on my least 5 favorites. And then finally, this is a book that I got. This is Herman Walk's Marjorie Morningstar. Now, I got this in a little free library, but Jason is horrified by the condition that the book is in. So I don't know how well you can see, like the spine is really, it's got a lot of big, deep creases in it. It feels pretty, like it when I hold it this way, it feels pretty good. Like it feels like it could last more than one reading. But anyway, Jason refuses to shelve this book. So I have secretly added it with the other mass market paperbacks, but I do intend to get to this someday. I read Herman Walk's The Cane Mutiny, which is a Pulitzer winner, and it is an amazing book, a really, really great book. And I have heard people sing the praises of Marjorie Morningstar. I realized, you know, like, this edition is maybe not the most attractive, but I got it for free, so like, who cares? All right. Question 10. Is there a thing as too many books? You know what? I would have said yes for a very long time. But do you know what? Like, I mean, especially after 6.5 years on Booktube, there are people who, they have books in every room of their house. There are people who own books, and when they read them on their e-reader, but they want to have like the actual hard copy. People who seek out like vintage editions of things. And who am I to deprive them of that? Like I said, for me, the thing that makes me feel the best about how many books we own, which is, I realize, like, it's a little bit crazy, but nonetheless, like, they're all in one room, so they're pretty much all together, and that brings me a lot of peace. Now, if I could go through and unhaul the books, unhaul the strictly Jason books, you know, I definitely would have more than enough room for all the other books, but, you know, there are books, like, I mean, if Jason and I had to divvy up the Charles Dickens books, it would be an absolute war. When we moved into the house, one of the luxuries was that we were like, we have enough room, we can own all of Charles Dickens novels. And so we bought the ones that we didn't have, which was great. It was just a great feeling to be like, whenever I want to read Dickens, all of them are here. So I do enjoy that. But is there a thing as too many books? I mean, I guess it just depends on like your level of, you know, like if they were to start to take over the whole house, then I would have problems with that. But as it is right now, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about how many books we own. Although I never dreamed that I would own so many books. But you know, I did come from a house that was full of books. There were books in so many different rooms. So again, part of my feeling at peace with the number of books we own is that they're all here. They're all in one place. So anyway, I loved doing this tag. Stuart, thank you so much for tagging me. I look forward to your comments down below in the comments section. Tell me your answers to these questions or do this video yourself. As always, if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, you can always leave me an emoji or you can give this video a thumbs up, which I deeply appreciate. Booktube, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others. And thank you once again to all of the people who supported Books I'm Not Reading in 2024 and the beginning of 2025. So I am deeply, deeply grateful. All right, Booktube, talk to you soon. Bye.